The ANC's National Executive Committee meeting is currently underway at Mbombela Stadium out in Mpumalanga. Top of its agenda are these 3 points: the party's draft framework for the upcoming January 8th statement, the plan of action for this year's general election and its achievement. Well, let's now welcome political analyst Mr Sandile Swana. Sandile, compliments to you. These above-mentioned items on the NEC meeting. What piques your interest the most and why?
Well, the January 8th statement, as you know, Alicia, through the years, I think since 1972, if I remember correctly, has given the ANC the line of march. These are the marching orders that would come from the NEC and the president of the ANC. That becomes important. Then we know what they want to do for the year. We also know what they promised last year, and we also try to check what progress did they make. The framework for the elections next year is also critical, knowing that the ANC, especially in Gauteng, perhaps even in KZN, for the first time is facing a realistic chance of losing those two provinces. So those issues, except KZN, of course, because they won KZN for the first time when they were already in power. So but right now this is a history-making year of the elections for the ANC and the country as a whole.
But Sandile, I mean, speaking of KZN, we understand that among these discussions on former President Jacob Zuma's transgressions and breach of the party's constitution will also be reflected upon. Can the ANC at its current state really single individuals for taking a stance of being vocal about the current challenges that are plaguing the movement? We saw the furore and mess that Dr. Mavuso Msimang's resignation and retraction thereof did to the party, and these are just a few to note.
Yes, the ANC is in a crisis, perhaps even a deepening crisis. We have heard the likes of Thabo Mbeki saying openly that they are not going to campaign for the ANC because it could be easy that you'd be campaigning for a criminal in a particular ward or whatever the case may be. Mavuso Msimang also said that, you know, the list that these guys prepare for parliament and for cabinet, etc., is usually not up to standard, moral standard of the ANC. These are people with pending cases, etc. But all of these things, and Zuma added his flavor, but all of these things signal to the ordinary members of the ANC that the most experienced leaders are in a state of crisis in the ANC. And some of them might give up hope, some of them might look for new homes, and some of them, of course, will endure.
What really should be the focus on the NEC, Sandile? As we know now, according to the recently released IRP report on load shedding and power supply issues, we're really not going to eradicate energy supply issues for a very long time. And that begs the question, what achievements is the party going to be reflecting upon?
Yes, the party has a problem in giving credible progress reports. For instance, you mentioned, I suppose, Eskom now, and I was reading their last January 8th statement on this Eskom issue, that they are going to bring in world-class competitive executive at each power station, at Eskom head office and elsewhere. But they would then, obviously, if they had done that, they would then give us specific names and places where they've put these world-class executives to turn Eskom around. But to your issue, the last report prepared by the system operator at Eskom that I had seen, not last year, the year before last, signaled that in the best circumstances, the load shedding would be stabilized in 2027. So any other statement would have been strictly a propaganda statement by the ANC and other people who don't pay attention to the system operator at Eskom, who audits realistically what can be achieved.
Very interesting point there, Sandile. And look, we're going into the general polls this year. What is your general analysis then on how the ruling party has portrayed itself on extremely critical matters? And what do you foresee when the party does go to the polls?
In terms of common sense, the party has contradicted itself and lost credibility. It is an untrustworthy party. I think, if I remember correctly, Godongwana at the World Economic Forum said that load shedding is done. Ramaphosa at the World Economic Forum said load shedding is done. Balula was the last one I remember who said by December 2023 load shedding would be done. All sorts of leaders have said that, and all of those promises were actually not based on anything that could possibly be true in the near future. It was based on original inaccuracies and inexactitudes that were being propagated at the highest level of leadership within the African National Congress, thereby breaking trust with the residents of South Africa and the voting citizens.
Thank you so much for your contributions there, Sandile. Unfortunately, we're out of time. That was political analyst Mr. Sandile Swana there, reflecting on the ANC NEC, which is currently sitting out in Mbombela.